Hello everyone, it's Laura here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I want to show you how to create a card using some stamps by Create a Smile Stamps and my brand new White Night watercolors which I recently purchased. I actually filmed an unboxing and swatching video and I will link it down below. I already stamped my images on a piece of Canson XL watercolor paper using my archival ink in jet black. And I skipped that part in the video because, the video will be long enough, so you didn't need to watch that too. I taped down my piece of paper on a hard surface using some painter's tape, and now I'm ready to start watercoloring. As you can see, I have two glasses of water, one with clean water and one that I will use to rinse my brush. And I also have a cloth that I can use to clean off my brush and to sort of tune the amount of water I have in the brush itself. I have my color mix in the palette and I diluted it quite a bit because I think it's always better to come in gradually and build up your colors in layers rather than, putting down too much color and then what do? So anyway, for this painting I use the wet on wet technique, which means the first thing you do is you come in your areas with the brush that is loaded with clean water only. Only at that point you come in with some pigment, and what I do is I lay down the pigment in the areas where I think the shadows will be. In this case it will be the center of the flower and the tip, of the petals, and on the tip of the petals. And this will hopefully give the appearance that the petals are curved. After having laid down the pigment, I take some clean water and sort of join those two areas with clean water only. The water will make the pigment moves and you can also guide it a little bit, but the water should do most of the work for you. So here you can see me again coming in with some clean water, covering up all my areas. And one important thing is that I did not go to a petal just right next to the one I just colored, because that's still wet, and as soon as I put water next to it the pigments will migrate, and you don't want that. You really don't want your colors to bleed and into areas that should not sort of talk to each other, So anyway, here I am again laying down pigment in the center part of the petals and on the tips of the petals, rinsing off my brush, picking up some water and joining the two areas with the colors together. And that's it. That's pretty much all there is to it. I will now put some music on and let you enjoy the coloring process. Don't worry, you will not have to sit here while I paint all the flowers and all the leaves. I will just show you this one flower that I'm painting right now, and I'll come back when it's time to paint the leaves. Before I go, I just wanted to mention that for all the flowers and also later on for the leaves, I used 2 layers of colors because I thought this gave me a more cohesive look for the elements in my card. And I'll shut up now and let you enjoy the coloring process. Catch you guys soon. The flowers are ready and I can move on and start painting the leaves. I always start off with a wash of clean water and then I come in with my paint, which I keep highly diluted in my mixing palette, and I lay down the color in the areas that I think should be darker. I then rinse off my brush and with clean water I come in and start dragging the color away from where I laid down towards the lighter areas. I'm using here emerald green, but because I thought this was a little bit too blue for my taste, once all the flowers are ready and dry, I came in with the second wash of clean water and some yellowish green to change the hue of this green a little bit, and I like it much better this way. I will now leave you again with some music, and I'll come back when it's time to paint the background. So now it's time to paint the background. Again, I'm starting off with clean water and trying to lay it down as homogeneously as I can. I will then come back with some very diluted turquoise blue. I'm not sure how you say that in English. Anyway, I will write it on screen. And I'll start laying down the color around the flowers and then drag it out. What you want to try to do to get sort of like an homogeneous wash, which I didn't manage to do completely, but I still like the texture anyway. But what you want to do is to keep adding water, so you don't want your paper to dry. You want to work in areas and sort of keep progressively wetting your cardstock as you move, in this case towards the left of the screen for me. And yeah, I will also come back and add like a second layers and some few finishing touches, and that's my background. And that's it, the coloring is over. It was quite a long process, but I really enjoyed it. But now I can move on and assemble my card. I'm stamping the sentiment from the same stamp set on some vellum using my Archival ink in jet black by Ranger, and I'm also using my Tonic Studios trimmer to trim down my front panel to 4 by 5¼ inches. I used the trimmer to trim down the strip of vellum to 1½ inches, and I also took a strip of white cardstock which I cut at 1 inch. I'm using this white cardstock because the sentiment was kind of disappearing a little bit on that busy background, and this way I'm sure it will stand out. Of course I could have stamped the sentiment directly on the white cardstock, but I really like the look of vellum, so I decided to go, this way. I can now tape down my strip of vellum to the card, and to do so I'm using some tape runner by Tonic Studios, and this turned out to be a very good thing to do because initially I didn't tape down the strip of vellum straight. But because that tape runner doesn't stick the vellum permanently, I could go ahead, unstick it, fix the placement, and then stick it down again. You can see me do this here right now, and now it looks fine and straight, and I'm happy. At this point the card is almost ready. I can attach my card front to the black card base that is cut at a standard A2 size card using my liquid glue, and I like to use liquid glue for these things because, as you might have seen in previous videos, I'm not very good at sticking things straight, and glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room. And finally, the last embellishments. This is my version of a fine tip applicator for my Ranger Multi-Medium Matte, and I'm using it to glue down some embellishments I created with my Nouveau clear glitter drops. I like to do this in advance, and then I can sort of play with the placement a little bit. And that's it. That's my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found it useful. If so, please let me know in the comments below. You can also check out my blog for the full list of supplies, and I hope I'll be back soon with another video. Ciao!